Good morning, everyone. My name is Gianna Williams, and I am an outreach specialist for the City of Dallas. As employees, my colleagues and I work to educate Dallasites on many different environmental topics every day, making strides to help preserve the city's natural resources and to encourage everyone to practice beneficial environmental behaviors. Our Earth Day Everyday program is the result of the combined efforts of the Dallas Central Library and the Office of Environmental Quality and Sustainability. It helps to highlight the many ways that we can care for the planet throughout the year. This longstanding partnership between OEQS and the library has produced many informational programs that educate people on relevant environmental topics like conserving water, reducing litter, saving energy, understanding our walled neighbors, utilizing the city's digital apps, and how everything is connected. A little birdie told me that you won't want to miss this month's installment. As most of the city is preparing for the holiday season by buying gifts and preparing meals, we'd like to invite you to consider adding another annual tradition to your list. The Christmas bird count is a nationwide event that engages. Why? For science, of course. Citizen science, or research conducted with input from members of the public, is a way for people of all knowledge and skill levels to help with a common goal. Birds are the eyes and ears of the ecosystem.
All right, so on Zoom and in person, we can see those beautiful green-winged teal. Fantastic. All right, well, again, my name is Jake Poinsett. I'm the education manager at the Trinity River Audubon Center. It's like Gianna said, my job is all about environmental education for all ages, habitat restoration, habitat management, and helping others build their own relationships with nature. Because you don't have to travel far to marvel at the wonders of ecology. You can do it right here in Dallas, our own backyard. And I love this time of year. I love this topic. It's the Christmas bird count. It's something everybody can do. It's the longest running community science initiative that's been focusing on birds. And like I said, it's a century long. So over a century long. And I'm just so happy to be invited by my friends to come and geek out about birds. I imagine we're all somewhat of a bird nerd as well. That's why we're here. That's why we're listening online. So let me dive right in. So I'm sure for those watching virtually, this is not your first Zoom program, but it's always good to go over Zoom best practices. We recommend to have your camera turned off and also to mute your microphone. Feel free to ask questions by using the chat box. There'll also be time for Q&A at the end. Now, very important to make sure that your computer sound is up so you can hear me speaking clearly. I'll do my best to speak clearly. I get very excited about these topics. So I'll do my very best to speak clearly and concisely. And also make sure your computer's video is on because there's a lot of beautiful photography in each slide, highlighting a lot of the folks from our Audubon photography books. This one right here, Exhibit A, beautiful swamp sparrow silhouette. It's just hanging on to that switchgrass. So there'll be a lot of wonderful photography, or a lot of beautiful photos throughout the presentation. So we mentioned that I work for the National Audubon Society, specifically at the Trinity River Audubon Center here in Dallas. We'll talk more about TRAC towards the end of the presentation. But at this point, Audubon is like the name Audubon synonymous with birds. But how did this organization come to be? It's thanks to two women in conservation, Mina B. Hall and Harriet Hemingway. They were sick and tired of high fashion in the late 1800s and those plume hats. People would shoot a bird, just like that great egret, to put one feather in a cap. This became so popular with the high society types that this bird almost went extinct. So Mina B. Hall and Harriet Hemingway would organize gatherings to talk about alternatives. How can we appreciate these birds without making them go extinct? This became so popular that more of these tea parties started to pop up all along the Northeast, and collectively they got the Audubon Model Law passed in 1901, which banned all plume hunting. It was named the Audubon Society to pay homage to John James Audubon, who was a naturalist and illustrator who studied birds in North America. But Mina B. Hall and Harriet Hemingway were the first two that really founded this organization. So every single time you see the great egret, it's a true conservation success story. Fast forward to today, we're still a leader in conservation through advocacy, speaking up for birds because they can't do it themselves, through environmental education, teaching people about the habitats that birds rely on, the habitats in our backyard, through boots on the ground science, cutting edge research to make sure we can better understand what we need to do for birds for now and the future. And of course, through habitat management, making sure these habitats are suitable for birds, all other organisms that are associated with those habitats. So that story I told you about Mina B. Hall and Harriet Hemingway, that started in Massachusetts. But now if you look at this map, Audubon is everywhere. We're all over the place. Not just North America, but Central and South America. Because birds do not see borders. They need to be able to rely on each habitat as they move through their critical life cycles, especially for migratory birds. And the work that's conducted by Audubon is divvied up via flyway, just like migratory birds. They rely on specific flyways depending on the species. So the work that we do in the central flyway, places like here in Texas, can differ greatly that of the Pacific flyway or the Atlantic flyway. So we're very specific to what our birds need in the backyards. And then to get more specific, Audubon in Texas. Audubon started in Texas because of our barrier islands along the Gulf. These are really important stopping points for migratory birds, as well as nesting rookeries for colonial water birds. And we found out that when you protect these habitats, yes, it's important for birds, it also does a lot for people. It helps stop big storm surges, saves a lot of money, helps with climate change. So we've started to figure out where birds thrive, people prosper. So by protecting habitats for birds, it's better for people as well. And then now you can see the Audubons all over our state. We have lots of volunteer-led chapters. Your local chapters here, Audubon Dallas. It's a group of fellow bird lovers who get together to go bird watching, help with habitat projects, and just hang out with a bunch of friends. And then we have 3 centers in Texas where we like to say we're the gateway to the great outdoors. In Dallas, we're the Trinity River Audubon Center. In Cedar Hill, there's the Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. And in San Antonio, there's the Mitchell Audubon Center. So it's really cool that in Texas we have 3. All right, so this is what we're here for today. What is the Christmas bird count? This spotted towhee definitely wants to know. He's looking around like, why are all these dudes? He's looking at me.
Yeah.
This is called a spotted towhee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the spotted towhee is a beautiful, beautiful sparrow, large sparrow that we'll see in large numbers in North Texas in the wintertime. And it's one of the many birds we find during our Christmas bird counts. But again, what is the Christmas bird count? It all started as an alternative to what was called the Christmas side hunt. For many years during Christmas, people would get together and they would cross a field, large groups on each side, to see how many birds they could shoot at once. Then afterwards, both teams would come together, and whatever team killed the most birds, they won. This went on for many years. And then 1900, an early Audubon officer, an Audubon member, his name was Frank Chapman, he was an ornithologist. He said, how about instead of shooting them, we just count them. We just look at them. Little did he know that he would have started one of the most important community science initiatives in the entire world. So that first Christmas bird count that was organized by Frank Chapman, there were counts that are occurring in Toronto, Massachusetts, New Jersey, all the way to California. So there were 25 counts that took place, and they had about 90 species. So just by doing this, it started a movement. Instead of hunting these birds for sport, let's count them. So if he was still alive today, if you got to see all the work that was being done by the Christmas bird count and all that important data that has taught us about what we need to do for birds, you'd be astonished. Because it was just this one thing to make change, and now it's one of the most important projects all around for birds. But starting with the original, with Frank Chapman, it has grown. It has become very specific to the different data collection methods that need to be conducted to make sure that we're doing our very best for the efforts for birds. So if you're interested in being in a circle, these are some of the specifics. Counts take place in already established circles. In a couple slides from now, you'll see some of the circles within our area. Those circles are 15 miles in diameter. Each circle has a compiler, so someone who's going to collect all the data that all the birders have done out in the field, and they put all the numbers together. And to make it easier, a lot of these circles are divided to different zones. It'd be really difficult for one person to cover all of these 15-mile diameter circles. So it's a community effort. The circle that I'm a part of, we get 60 to 80 birders every single time, which is awesome. So a whole bunch of us going out there to collect or count birds together. So that has been really, really important to make sure that the compiler has a bunch of team members to go out and count birds together. The Christmas bird count time frame is from December 14th to January 5th every single year. And each circle is conducted one day throughout that time frame. And this year is our 126th annual Christmas bird count, which is awesome. Yeah. So that's a lot of years of consecutive data. A lot of birds. A lot of birds. Very cool. So yeah, each circle count happens on one day. So for the TXTA count that I'm the compiler for, our count will be on Saturday, December 27th. So if anybody's interested in joining, we'll chat afterwards. Shoot me an email and we'll get you put in the right zone in our circle. And the goal is to count as many species as you can, but also as many individual birds as you can. Yes, it helps us better understand species diversity of the different birds that are occupying different habitats in the winter within your zone, but also the overall number of birds. It helps us understand population trends. Are these species doing well? Are they doing bad? What do we need to do as habitat managers and bird enthusiasts to make sure that these species recover if they're not doing well? And there's lots and lots of details in the data. So when you're going out, it's not just you're looking at birds. You got to write down some stuff. You got to collect. You got to compile. So again, we're looking for bird species. What are the different birds that are occupying these spaces within our circle? One of the birds that I always get pumped to see this time of year is this guy right here. It's a Leconte's sparrow. This is my favorite sparrow that we find in the wintertime. It is really unique. It's one of the smallest sparrows, and it depends on areas with little blue stem. So really healthy grasslands that are dominated by little blue stem and other perennial bunch grasses. It is really gorgeous. A lot of people say sparrows are drab and, oh, they all look the same. I mean, this thing is striking. It's stunning. And because it's so specific to its habitat needs, it's always special when you get to find it. So yes, you're recording the different bird species you find, also the number of birds. There's also tabs that can show you if it was a low count one year or if there's a high count one year, because you get to see the historical data as well from years past. And also you have to fill out specific reports if you find a rare bird. If it's a bird that's not normally within your circle, or a bird that happens occasionally, and you have to be very detailed to make sure that you get that bird counted. Because it's not just the honor system for a rare bird. Because, you know, as long as you have a good picture or detailed description, then it can be counted. We're also making sure we record the effort of everyone who's in the Christmas bird count. So again, we mentioned it's a community affair. We want to capture how many birders are in each circle, how many hours that you're out birding. Is it an all-day event? Did you go out for a little bit, then it started raining, and it sort of started snowing, then you come back after, and then also the different types of birding. Some people bird by car, depending on the zone. There's even an option for birding by a snowmobile, which we don't have to do very often around us. But I imagine some of the Christmas bird count circles in Canada, maybe they are birding by snowmobile, which sounds like fun. And then also you have to catalog the weather. Could that have been a deterrent of why you didn't see that many birds that year? Was it super rainy or snowy or super windy? So all these things kind of put the seamless web together and understanding the bird populations, bird trends, bird diversity, and again, what we can do better as habitat managers. And you have a question?
You were saying that the bird count is on the 27th of December for your group, but there's other days for different circles?
For sure. Yeah. So December 14th to January 5th, there's tons of circles. And I'll show you guys how to find.
Okay, you'll show them?
Yep. So how is this data used? These birds are not being watched in vain. All this important information is being really utilized by ornithologists, habitat managers, stewards, and just bird enthusiasts. All the compilers submit their data from their circle to an Audubon database. That database helps us understand, again, bird populations and trends. Good example, if there's a big eruption, like a big year where there's tons and tons of birds like a pine siskin, that could maybe tell us that it was very productive in its breeding season. So in the wintertime, we see tons of them down here. So that's a bird that kind of goes up and down that way. It also helps us understand the needs for our habitat management. So birds like that Leconte sparrow, we know they're very specific to their habitat needs. And if they should be in an area, but the habitat has become degraded and they're no longer there, that lets us know we need to act. We need to make sure that we restore those habitats for that bird because it's the species of greatest conservation need. It also helps us recognize conservation success stories. So on the Audubon website, if you go to our bird guide section, there's a little tab for each species where you can watch the data from the Christmas bird count. And it shows you how that bird's been doing since 1966. So it's really fun to see over time. How's this bird doing? It's because of the stuff we've learned from our Christmas bird counts. Also, the data from the Christmas bird count has helped fuel really important information through things like the Audubon Migration Explorer. This is your data at work. We're all true scientists when you contribute to the Christmas bird count. So this helps create, again, a map, a web of where these birds are breeding, migrating, and wintering. And in this example with the American kestrel, all those large underground circles are high density, where that bird is. And if you allow the time lapse to go, as it starts to come to winter, you'll see again, high density where they are in their wintering range. And all this has been able to be compiled because of the information from things like the Christmas bird count. So I recommend checking out that website. It's really fun to explore, explorer.audubon.org. Pick your favorite bird and just kind of see its migration paths, where it spends its winters. So now you're jazzed up, you're pumped. You're ready to go count birds. You're ready to be scientists. But how? How do you participate? This burrowing owl is very curious. So you got to just find a circle. So if you go to audubon.org, or if you just Google Christmas bird count, the first thing that will pop up on your Google search is Audubon Christmas bird count. Click that, and there's going to be an option to find a circle near you. You can use that map to zoom into where you're located or where you're going to be traveling for Christmas, or type in an address, and it'll show you all the different circles in your area. So here's a screenshot of the various circles in the DFW area. If you click on the yellow bird icon, it'll show you who the compiler is, what their contact information is, what day the count is, and if the count is already full, or if they're wanting more volunteers, or if it's a reach out case by case basis. So by clicking on that little bird icon, it'll give you more information to join the circle of your interest. So again, I'm the compiler for the TXTA count. So that's the one just southeast of Dallas. So the one that's southeast of the Dallas count, and then east of the Cedar Hill count. This one covers places like the Trinity River Audubon Center where I work, as well as John Bunker Sands Wetland Center, which is a really awesome place if you haven't been before, and all the beautiful spaces in between from that circle. You know, again, we normally get 130 species each count, which is a pretty great number. And then tons and tons of birders, but we're always wanting more. You can bird at places like the Audubon Center with us. We lead bird walks that day. You can reach out to John Bunker Sands and see if you can help with their count. Or if you just reach out to me as the compiler, I'll point you in the right direction. Because again, it's a pretty big circle. There might be a section, a zone that's closer to your house. It might just be easier to join that zone. Question?
Are there like age requirements for count participation? I'm sure there has to be something. But...
Great question. So it all depends on, again, if you reach out to your compiler, there might be specific zones that are more like beginner friendly, zones that might be easier for someone to first get into it. So that's why we host bird walks at the Audubon Center during the Christmas bird count. So it's open for all experience levels, all interests. We're going to go out there and teach you as we're also collecting data.
So if you get in touch with the compiler, will they assign you sort of a particular section of the zone?
Exactly. Yeah. So they'll put you in contact with that zone leader. So each zone has a zone leader who's managing their team of birders. And they're the ones that collect all the important information and send it to the compiler. So they'll be the ones that are organizing that specific zone. Yeah. So again, some zones are just driving. So you're in a car looking for birds. Some are walking zones. Some are hybrid, and a little bit of both. So if you just did your first Christmas bird count and you're just loving, you're just like, I want to do everything I can for the birds. I want to do every single community science project available. There's lots of them. So one is Climate Watch. This is a relatively new one that Audubon started. It helps us better understand climate change by tracking certain species of birds. There's lots of species of bird that are climate at risk, and we're seeing that change over time. But we'll also be watching some species that are kind of climate stable. So through this data collection over time, we're going to see if those birds start to increase or decrease. So it's another fun survey where you go out and look for birds in a specific area. Reach out to my colleague, Sophia Lopez. She's one of the Dallas organizers for that project. And then in February is the Great Backyard Bird Count. Very similar to the Christmas bird count, but just not as extreme. And it's a weekend long. Yes.
All of this information is going to be available on the website.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Everything will be on our Audubon website, as well as the Trinity River Audubon website. And also there's a recording too.
Just wanted to make sure I had a bird in hand and not swimming much.
I love that. I love it. We love the bird puns. And then if you're more into watching birds in your backyard, if you love, casually watching your bird feeder, there's also a project called Project Feeder Watch. All the birds that are joining you in your backyard and gobbling up all the seeds in your feeder, that's also you collecting data. You're being a scientist by submitting this information to that website. And then collectively, the Christmas bird count and also something called the breeding bird survey that helps create this map of how birds are doing year round. So the breeding bird survey is very specific where there's a route that you would attend. You can reach out to who a breeding bird survey leader is. I'm the leader for the Dallas count. You reach out to me if you want to come birding with me one day. It's very long. We start at like 6 a.m. and we normally stop around 1 p.m. So that's if you've graduated into wanting to bird all day long. And then there's things like the Global Big Day, which also occurs on World Migratory Bird Day. We have a big event every single year at the Trinity River Audubon Center to celebrate this holiday. It's everyone's favorite holiday. And we have tons of partners like the Dallas Public Library, City of Dallas, who come out and just teach people about the importance of these wild places. And then big shout out to Lights Out Texas. So it's a program we're a part of where we're inviting everybody to turn your lights out at night, because a lot of these wintering birds that we're seeing, during the Christmas bird count, if they're not year-round residents, a lot of them migrate at night to return to their wintering grounds. They follow the stars as their map, and they have electromagnetic receptors that allow them to understand the pull of north and south. But when they see bright lights in a big city, they get confused and disoriented. And unfortunately, about 1 billion birds every year die from window collisions that way. So if we turn our lights out at night, it provides safe passage to our feathered friends. So when you're out in the field, either birding just for the fun of it with some friends or bird in your backyard, and you can continue to add to science every single day by apps like eBird. eBird is an online database for bird observations. Every single time you create a checklist of the different species you found in a specific area, you submit it, boom, you're a scientist. Again, this is helpful information for ornithologists and habitat managers. It's free. It's run through the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. It also helps power another app called Merlin Bird ID, which I recommend for anyone who's trying to get into birds, trying to better understand what birds are around you, and also their bird calls. This is a great way to memorize bird calls because there's a sound function that you press the microphone, you hold it up, and it records all the birds that are calling around you, and it lets you know what birds are vocalizing.
It's like Shazamming birds.
Literally, it's Shazam for birds. And I always tell people, if you want to learn your bird calls, this is a great way to start because it's going to help you memorize. And then, of course, work for Audubon. I got to do an Audubon shameless plug. Audubon also has a great app called the Field Guide app. You can help create your life list of all the different birds you've seen, where you saw it, when you saw it. There's lots of great information about their biology, ecology, natural history. And then this could be for birds, but also anything else. I recommend iNaturalist. It's another way to become a scientist. Every single time you take a picture of an organism and upload it, you're contributing to this web, this seamless web of biotic information. It's also helpful because it powers another app called Seek, which is a little more all ages friendly. It's like a game where you take a picture, you get badges, you get codes, but it also helps identify things for you. So you know what kind of plants are out there, kind of bugs, kind of fungi. So iNaturalist and Seek are also really great apps.
The one on chat says they've been using Merlin for a long time. It's a great app.
I love it. Yeah, and a good friend of mine who's also the ornithologist that bands at the Audubon Center, shout out to Blaine Carnes. He's also one of the employees who works on the sound function for Merlin. So he helps make sure that all of those recordings are accurate. It's going to be difficult because some birds, like mockingbirds, are great at mimicking other birds. So Blaine's got a hard job. Make sure that all those are accurate. So that was a nice brief synopsis of what the Christmas bird count is, how it started, why we do it, and how you can become involved. Now let's go over some fun birds that you might see when you're out on your Christmas bird count. So we mentioned our spotted towhee before. Towhees are large, chunky sparrows in the Passerellidae family, and they're absolutely beautiful. They have like this kind of like scratchy scream you hear in the distance. They love to forage on the forest floor on the edgy habitat of grasslands and woodlands. So if you're walking on a trail in the wintertime and you hear a bunch of leaf litter moving around, it's probably not a big scary animal. It's probably a spotted towhee or eastern towhee kicking around leaves looking for food. This sparrow was the picture of the silhouetted bird in one of the previous slides. It's the swamp sparrow. This is the sparrow with the longest legs compared to any other sparrow because of its habitat. So it has evolved to occupy these wetland habitats. So it has this ecological niche that most sparrows are not occupying. So over time, it evolved to have longer legs, to act like a miniature wading bird. It'll walk amongst the shallows of a pond, picking up seeds, bugs, whatever it could find, and has, again, beautiful, beautiful plumage. It breaks my heart when people say sparrows are just ugly little birds. Like, this thing is striking. This is gorgeous. And the sparrow diversity in North Texas in the wintertime, immense. I mean, there's so many different species we can find here, double digits. And it's fun when you're out birding, things like the Christmas bird count, because you're going to find lots of different sparrows. And the more you identify them, the more you're out in the field, it'll be really easy for you to tell the difference between each sparrow. Another sparrow. This is a very special visitor that we're very lucky where we live in North Texas, because this is a species of greatest conservation need, which means their populations are either plummeting or not doing well or really need our help. And it's the only endemic breeding songbird to Canada. So every single Harris's sparrow born was born in the Arctic tundra, and they only winter in the southern Great Plains where we are. So from like southern Kansas to North Texas. So it's very specific to its breeding habitat and its wintering habitat. But because of that, that's why the population is not doing very well. And this is a younger Harris's sparrow. We know that because the bib is normally a deep black on its throat and chest, as well as on its cap. So over time, its adult plumage becomes a darker, richer black. So we know this is probably a first-year adult. But it's really cool to see their behavior, their pecking order, because they're normally in a flock of other Harris's sparrows and mixed with other sparrows sometimes in the wintertime. And the younger adults give first dibs to the older adults for the prime food sources. So they wait and watch, okay, she and he got what they needed, I'm going afterwards. So an ornithologist was fascinated by this, so he captured a young Harris's sparrow, painted his bib and cap black like the adults, released them back into the flock. And all the youngsters were like, all right, go right ahead. You get first dibs. Very respectful little birds. Yeah. Another bird that's fun to observe. They're very gregarious. Another winter resident, our cedar waxwing. They flock to fruit-bearing trees and bushes. It's called a cedar waxwing because they devour the berries of trees like the eastern red cedar. Waxwing because their wings, they have like these beautiful waxy secretions on the edges. Really striking, colorful bird. But they're here in mass numbers in the wintertime. Again, very gregarious, flocking together, feeding. And it's probably a mixture of their social behavior, like making sure that everyone is feeling a part of the group, but also through resource scarcity. If there's times are tough, they will pick a berry and pass it down the line to make sure everybody's fed before they move on to the next tree. So we could all take a page from the cedar waxwing book, right? Taking care of one another. Another awesome bird. I mean, they're all awesome birds. This time of year, if you go to places like Hagerman National Wildlife Refuge, which is north of Dallas on the border of Texas and Oklahoma, you'll find this bird in the thousands. So snow geese breed again in the Arctic tundra, and they winter down in the southern US going down towards Central America. And you'll see them feeding in these big, big groups, gobbling up all the seeds and grasses and any insects they could find. And they're also mixed in with other species of geese. So every now and again, you'll find a Ross's goose, which is mixed in. And then the more you bird, the easier it'll be for you to tell the difference. A Ross's goose is like a chunkier bill, a little bit of a chunkier body. Snow goose, a little bit larger, a little bit longer bill. But the snow goose can also have a blue morph. So, but just seeing these birds by the thousands feeding together, breathtaking. It's a spectacle to behold. And then we have our friend, the short-eared owl. This is one that I always get excited when I see in the wintertime. My heart skips a beat. You know, most when we think of owls, we think that they're nocturnal. Most of them are. This one's mostly crepuscular, so early morning, late evening. But like other owls, it has that facial disc. So that big flat head with all those feathers are helping to trap and direct sound to their ears so they know exactly where the food's coming from. So it's a grassland-dependent bird, soaring low over prairies, looking for things like rodents moving around through the tall grasses. And because of this adaptation, they have the ability to know exactly where that little mouse is running through the dents, preying a bunch of grasses and pounce on. A beautiful bird. It breeds, again, in the northern plains and then winters down here in the southern Great Plains. You can find them scattered throughout the DFW area, never like in big high numbers. But I think not that long ago, some people found them by the bridge. Yeah. And then if you go out towards Combine, Crandall, and all those back roads out there, you might see them soaring over in the morning. So another fun treat. Yeah.
I had an owl in my yard a while back. What kind of owl is he called?
So do you live in Dallas?
I do. I live near White Rock Lake.
Okay. So you have some options.
I have a picture, but it's blurry. So
Be big, small.
he was like this big.
Yeah.
Pretty big owl. He's brown.
Tiny?
Yeah.
So probably a screech owl.
Okay.
So we have barred owls. Those are the ones that have that famous call. It sounds like they're saying, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" Yep. And then we have the great horned owl, which is one of the eared owls. They have those big, looks like they're ears, but they're just big feather tufts, and they're much larger. And then we have our eastern and western screech owls, little guys,
Okay.
really tiny. Yeah. But all can be found in Dallas. So again, I mentioned I work at the Trinity River Audubon Center. We'll be leading walks for the Christmas bird count, but also there's always something to do there year round. It's a really special place because it is this beautiful biodiverse wildlife refuge. It's within the 6,000-acre Great Trinity Forest, which is the largest urban bottomland hardwood forest in the country, right here in Dallas, which is a special thing that we have. But also, since we're in the Blackland Prairie ecoregion, most of our plant communities are some type of grassland plant community. So a lot of the work we do is to make sure those places are diverse and healthy, to make sure it's sustaining all the life that should be there, evolved to be there. But also something else. Before it was this beautiful place with a really beautiful, striking building. It was the largest illegal landfill in Texas history. Wow. So if you took all the trash that was dumped there illegally, stacked it up, it'll be taught in the Empire State Building. The local community said enough is enough. We're sick and tired of being the trash can for Dallas. So they sued the city and they won. That's why we're there. So in joint partnership with the city of Dallas and the National Audubon Society, it was transformed into this refuge that it is today. So it's still owned by the city of Dallas and operated by the National Audubon Society. So in partnership, we were able to provide these things for our community and beyond. But yeah, there's tons of bird walks and guided hikes. We have tons of different family programs and different things for people to build their own relationships with nature, things for all ages. And we have lots of community events, like our World Migratory Bird Day. And if you're interested in volunteering or helping with the Christmas bird count or learning more, there's my email and my phone number. It's my direct line. I also have some business cards for anybody who's here in person. And I appreciate everyone coming out and letting me geek out about birds. So thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
So FIFA World Cup is coming to Dallas in 2026.
Yes.
Is the Audubon hosting any kind of events for that?
For sure. Great shout out. FIFA will be here. And in joint partnership with City of Dallas, Audubon, John Bunker Sands, a number of green spaces around DFW for the weekend of the City Nature Challenge, which I think is the last weekend in April, something like that.
28, yeah.
We're going to be hosting lots of events as well as during World Migratory Bird Day. So we're going to have a lot of different opportunities for people to experience all the different green spaces around DFW because Dallas is a bird city. So by being a bird city, that means we have lots of opportunities for people to, connect with nature. There's lots of important habitat work that's going on through the city of Dallas and its partners. And we do things like Lights Out. So we are a bird-friendly city.
Does the count mainly focus on green spaces, or do you actually have people counting like in downtown or more developed areas?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know the diversity is great. I've mostly seen grackles and pigeons.
Yeah. No, great question. The circles cover everything within that circle. So our circle is divvied up into multiple zones. Some of those zones are very rural. Some cover green spaces like the Audubon Center and John Bunker Sands Wetland Center. And then other zones are very urban and suburban. So those ones you're mostly driving around, seeing what birds you can find on power lines or in people's yards, getting out, walking a sidewalk if you feel comfortable doing so. And then over time, you also see, which is kind of a bummer, a lot of those green spaces start to disappear. So the last 6 years have been with this circle towards the outskirts. You'll see a lot of those ranches have become something else. So that development over time also teaches us a lot about what it's doing to birds.
Are there any career opportunities with the Audubon, or is it all mostly volunteer work? Or I think a ornithology degree or something, or
there's tons of different career options with Audubon. Great question. We have our nature centers. We have work that is more conducted through advocacy. We have our conservation ranching team. We have our coastal team. So there's tons of different things you can do with Audubon. Some remote, some virtual, hybrid, and then some in person. So I always recommend checking out the Audubon website to see what opportunities pop up because there's always going to be something. And always to help with experience and just things in your resume, come out and volunteer and just do as much as you can.
because it sounds really fun, but getting paid at the same time. I'd love to count two birds.
Exactly. Yeah, I always sometimes got to pinch myself. I was like, I get to look at birds for a living. This is pretty cool. Yeah.
Couple chat
Sure.
questions and comments as well.
I was just wondering if you have a favorite memory of the Christmas bird count or if there's something notable that happened.
Great question. Great question. The first thing that comes to mind. So again, it's rain or shine, snow, hail, sleet, whatever. Some people tap out, and understandably so. But I'd say 4 years ago, there was an insane, it felt to me like a blizzard. And I mean, I'm wearing like 6 different layers. I'm covered up completely. Myself, Marcus, another person who was with Audubon, and a bunch of our volunteers. We're out just trudging through the snow. It was the most miserable morning. We're seeing no birds. We're like, oh, we got to do it for science, guys. And then an American woodcock appeared.
Oh my goodness.
Which is a really special bird, which would be considered a rare bird within our circle. And we only saw it because it was on the edge of the AT&T trail. Shout out to the city of Dallas. Awesome trail system that goes through and over the Trinity River. It connects to another green space. That's a part of our zone. And we're walking, and I saw something just kind of slowly walking through the trees. And I don't know if this is okay, Chris. We walked off trail. We walked. We walked off trail, and then we saw it kind of just do its weird flutter and then hide behind. So we would not have seen that woodcock that day if we all decided, let's not do it because it's fast.
Well, your nutrition is gonna be 5 Nandinas, 3 privates.
That's fair. That's fair.
What if you like birds, but like you don't necessarily have the knowledge and skills to be able to tell one bird from another?
No worries. So we have the Audubon Center that will lead our walks, and we'll teach as we go. So it's a learning opportunity for people that want to learn more, but also want to contribute to science. And there's still spots available, so just sign up on our website. And then those other community science projects too. There's tons throughout the year that focus on birds. And then those apps that I mentioned are really helpful for learning too.
Can some of those identify them like with your camera?
With iNaturalist, yeah. Let's say you take a picture with your camera or with your cell phone and you put an iNaturalist, another nature lover before will have helped you identify it. So it'll give you a suggestion of like what your potential IDs were. You click on what you believe that it is based on your suggestions, and then other nature lovers will confirm it. So iNaturalist is a really cool app for learning, just as important as it is for contributing to science.
All right, so one person asked if we will have access to the PowerPoint presentation because the pictures are beautiful.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Should they email you if they want a copy of it?
Definitely, yeah.
All right. Someone else said, thank you so much. Great presentation. I'm in the Cedar Hill Circle, so I'll definitely reach out and get involved for the first time this year.
Oh, I love it. Shout out to the Cedar Hill Circle. Shout out to Cheryl, all of our friends from Dogwood Canyon. I mean, that circle is awesome and just a great group of fun birds to hang out. So you'll have fun.
Another thank you for this presentation. I'm definitely interested in getting involved with the Garland Circle.
Yay.
Someone else was thinking about the same thing about Garland.
Yeah, if you just go to that Audubon website and then find the circle closest to you, click on that icon, and it'll give you all the contact information.
Someone else says, I live in Sachi. The circle on the map shows a yellow dot on it. Does that dot mean anything?
The yellow dot with the bird icon, I think that's what you mean. If you click on that, that's the one that'll tell you more information about it, including contact information, if it's full, if they're looking for more volunteers, or if it's like a case-by-case basis. Cool. Any other questions?
Have you seen Out of Deepwood?
Oh, yeah. I recommend everyone watch that. It's a really good story of what happened at the Audubon Center and how the local community took action. I mean, it's powerful stuff. It really is. And it's only 20 minutes or so, right? It's on YouTube.
That's what I was about to ask. On YouTube.
Yeah. If you
I can share it whenever we upload it. We can put it in the description, like to link it as well. Yeah,
Perfect.
we'll do it. It was good. Good suggestion.
And the architect for the Audubon Center, I understand that he came out actually and saw it when it still looked like that. But there were wildflowers growing in amongst all that construction debris.
Crazy.
Because the river was there, ponds were covered up, it was crazy. And he was so inspired, and then he designed it. And he's, in New Mexico, a gold medal, recipient of the American Institute of Architecture, just like Ian Pei and Frank Lloyd Wright.
Antoine Prida.
And Antoine Prida. I want to ask you, the Northern Harrier, have you seen them? Are they out there? I know that I remember having really fun watching one year out there at the Audubon Center.
I'm so excited every time they come back because
so lovely.
They're beautiful, beautiful birds of prey that also are grass dependent species. They fly low over prairies looking for food. This one's the female. So these ones do have dimorphism. The dichromatism, where the males and females are different based on color. And it's very drastic compared to other raptors because the female's brown with some red, and the male they call the gray ghost of the prairie. So he's a beautiful gray, just all gray with black on his back. But both of them have these white rump patches. So that's a good way to identify them when they're flying low over the prairie. And they'll occupy the same wintering habitat as the short-eared owl. So if you're lucky, you might find them to fight each other for territory. So they're not buds. Yeah, they're like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Can we break up bird fights?
It's a question. Yeah. It's like, hey, what do I do? Do I just write this down? Or
Do you still have roadrunners out there?
we've seen some recently. It's been a little while, but Blaine, the person who's been banding with us, he saw one in the prairie. And then yesterday, Joe, our maintenance specialist, when he was locking up, they ran across the road.
Okay. Well, the Harrier, when I was out there a couple of years ago, I had the pleasure of watching it one late afternoon. But then another fun thing happened to me one time driving in. Suddenly a roadrunner came out of the fence to the side of the road and just ran along with me.
That's awesome.
I'm like,
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, we have roadrunners in the DFW area. That's not something we think about every day.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So this data will all go to Audubon.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll all go into an Audubon database, and then that can be used for research. And you can, again, if you look on the Audubon website and click on a specific bird, it will show you the trends over time from the Christmas bird count.
And then you have that link if someone prefers, just if they've got a neighborhood that has a lot of birds, if they want to just participate from their own home or neighborhood, they can do that as well.
Just on eBird, yeah.
Yeah, just on eBird.
Exactly. Just use eBird, and then every single time you upload a checklist, you're contributing to science. And also, if you don't want to share, like this is my address, like it doesn't have to be a public share. You can just keep it private. Don't recommend your house as a hotspot. If you don't want birders to show up and give a bird in your backyard, because that will happen. That will happen.
Two questions. One, say for instance, someone was like a really busy person, they didn't have like a ton of work, they also wanted to contribute. Could they like, say for instance, like on their commute, they just saw like a bird, could they like upload that too?
On eBird, most definitely. Yeah. You don't have to have like a complete checklist. They'll even ask you, like, is this a complete or incomplete checklist for that reason? Let's say you're driving to work and like, oh, that's the first time I've seen a red-tailed hawk in quite some time. I'm going to put that on eBird. And then you put it on there. It's going to ask you for, what area it was. So submit it. You did your job.
Do it while stop.
Do it while stop.
Right.
So I gotta do it right now.
Yeah, do it while stop.
Also, this might be a little bit of an out there question, but I mean, you're the Audubon guy, so you would get the consensus and everything. I remember when I was a little kid, I saw hummingbirds, and like now I feel like I haven't seen one in like 15 years. Like, are they not doing so hot? Or
Hummingbirds, they're very specific to what plants they need to be around. So if you plant specific plants or even hummingbird feeders in your backyard, it might entice them to come back. But also they have like a photographic memory of where they stop each year. So historically, I mean, for a lot of birds, like the snow goose that we talked about before, it's called historical staging areas. They'll stop in the same fields every single year during migration. So unfortunately, if that field turns into something else, then they no longer have a spot to rest, have food. They got to try to figure it out on their own. Normally doesn't end well. But with hummingbirds too, they know, if Mr. and Mrs. Smith always have hummingbird feeders in their backyard in August, I'm popping in real quick before I continue down.
so they're definitely still around.
Yeah.
Recreation center, they have some plants that are right outside the building, and I caught these 10 hummingbirds.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. The last time I was at Keysrick, they have Turks Cap, and I was walking and I saw this hummingbird just like go like that, and I was like,
Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
And that never gets old. Seeing a hummingbird is so exciting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very exciting.
Another question from chat is the data that's collected, will it be shared with Merlin/Cornell?
Yeah, the Cornell lab uses this data from the Christmas bird count. And Merlin and eBird are powered through Cornell lab. So all this information is being shared together through other habitat managers, ornithologists, nonprofit organizations.
What about the green parrots and white ones? What are those factors?
So you would count them, you would put them down. Yeah.
We
On parakeets, you'd write them down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Invasive species.
Yeah. If you see a bird that's not native to the area, you still write it down.
It's
It's a
not
section for it.
It's not their fault,
Yeah.
it's people's fault. Don't release your pets, people.
Yeah, you still write it down. So a good example during the breeding bird survey that we do, the route starts in downtown Dallas and goes down towards Waxahachie. The most common birds for the first like 3 spots are house sparrows and starlings. But still, that's important data. We're collecting it.
Those giant snails in Florida.
Like
Right.
half the
Yeah.
creatures in Florida, I feel like are invasive.
When you live in areas like, where it's mostly nice, most of the year, things will thrive. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah, the iguanas, the
Right.
Burmese pythons, yeah.
It seems like there's not as many birds around in my home neighborhood as there were. But I was just thinking that, like I don't see the mockingbirds anymore. And I only saw 1 pair of cardinals this year. And I guess it could be that they do become older and they pass away.
For sure,
you know,
that
and
happens.
their children have gone, their offspring has gone elsewhere.
Yep.
And so it'll just take time for another pair to come back into the neighborhood.
That happens, and if there's other resources they find within the immediate
Yeah.
vicinity.
Maybe better resources.
And then for migratory birds, we've noticed that it's been late this year. The birds have been late since they had no reason. The environmental response of their food sources disappearing. If it's too cold in their breeding zones, that lets them know that's getting ready for me to go. It's about that time of year. It keeps getting warmer and warmer. So we've noticed like, wow, there's no sparrows yet. This is kind of weird. And again, one of our friends who has colleagues in Minnesota, they're like, yeah, the Lincoln sparrows are still here in November. This is not. They should be in Texas.
Yeah,
We're seeing things coming. Yeah.
so it's not like counting there.
Yeah, and we'll see with the Christmas bird count how high the numbers are. But those things do impact for sure.
And they do bird counts all over the country.
Oh yeah, yeah. So let's say you're in Maryland for Christmas and you want to do a Christmas bird count when you're visiting family. Just look up where the nearest circle is, whatever part of Maryland you're in, and they're everywhere.
Is the band Counting Crows in your Spotify Wrapped?
They're good. They're good. They're good. I like that. Any other questions in the chat? No? Well, thanks again, everybody. And then just another huge shout out to the city of Dallas. You guys are the best. The public library system. This is always nostalgic for me because I'll go to programs with my mom. So I always love to come out here because I did that as a kid. So really awesome. And shout out to our friends from Dallas Parks and Rec, Environmental Quality. City, Dallas is a bird city. Dallas rules. So just help out. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Go birds, go Holly.
Go birds.
Yeah, Ruby loves birds.